So War Thunder's new update, Winged Lions, has been out for a few days. I think I've played it enough to get a solid opinion on it, so here's what I think about the update overall. To recap previous updates, I thought the past few were alright, except for groundbreaking. I felt like the main attraction, Dozer Blades, were more or less a useless addition. Considering that since then, I haven't seen a single person use them in a battle, I think that was correct. This update looked more attractive. Given what was gathered from the dev server, I assumed it wouldn't have any superfluous features, just add more vehicles and fix a few things. That is what the update aimed to do, but it wasn't entirely successful. I was pretty excited to try this update, since a lot of vehicles I like were added, but that excitement faded the more I played. I'll talk about the negatives before the positives. Unfortunately, there's a lot more of the former. There were a lot of very odd bugs. First, I noticed that smoke grenades no longer block thermals, like at all. They made a little puff that you could see, but they just did not work for concealment. Luckily, I didn't play any top tier tanks, and pretty much right after the issue was reported, Gaijin released a hotfix for it. If I had to guess, I'd say it was a symptom of the new wind effects. Second and probably worst, my sounds are completely broken. When flying a jet, it makes no engine noise whatsoever. It's like the file was outright deleted. But when other people are flying planes, I get short but incredibly loud bursts of sound. You know those flashbangs with multiple charges? It's like that but in audio form. Needless to say, it is incredibly annoying. Third, traction is suddenly way worse. It's so bad that people are getting stuck in craters, or getting stuck on curbs. When craters were added last update, this is something I was concerned about, but it turned out to be a non-issue. Not anymore apparently. I generally try to avoid driving in craters, but since the new update, several people I know have gotten stuck in them. I'm calling this a bug because I really hope it wasn't intentional. If anything, traction needs to be buffed, not nerfed even further. And fourth, there were a lot of relatively small and insignificant issues. When opening tech tree menus, I was getting frame drops, and it got worse if I was doing something else on my computer, like rendering a video. That's not an issue I've had before. When loading into a game, the map would freak out, flickering between the ground and air map displays. Not exactly game ruining, but still something that could be fixed. And finally, a bug I didn't have an issue with because it was funny, the Merkavas in the hangar went crazy, and crashed through my M51. Unfortunately, Shadowplay dropped the ball, but apparently I'm not the only one to witness this. In general, the update seems very rushed. I'm not entirely surprised, since the dev servers were so close together, and the update came out not long after. Many of the vehicles have model issues, or technical inaccuracies. The M51 Sherman, for example, is both overweight and too slow. A few tanks, including the M51, don't have optics physically modeled. And of course, as you've no doubt heard by now, the Type 10 is very inaccurate. So far, I've only been able to play the M51, but it was a bit odd. I know most people think it's OP because it has heat, but that's the one redeeming quality it has. The round has terrible post-pen damage. On the AMX-30, the same round is fine, so it's either a bug or a deliberate balancing choice. It also takes forever for the gun to settle, because of the suspension and gun elevation speed. I think in the majority of cases, I would rather take out the 76 Jumbo. Now the positives. As for the new wind effects, I've only noticed them on a few occasions, but they do look pretty nice. It makes the game feel a lot more authentic. It's a very small detail, but it does punch above its weight. And for the most part, the new hit effects are also great. I only have one complaint, and that is that the paint primer looks a bit off in some areas, but it's not a big deal at all. The biggest positive for me is exhaust no longer blocking thermals. I'm honestly not sure if it's a bug like the smoke grenades were, but if it's intentional, thank you Gaijin. I've been passing feedback on this for a while, so it's great to finally see it fixed. And while the M51 isn't a great tank, I did still enjoy playing it, for the most part anyway. Its model is pretty amazing overall. All of the extra bits and attachments make it look cool. It was also pretty cathartic to get revenge on Panzer 470s, one of the vehicles I hate the most in this game. I've been waiting to see the M51 and other Israeli tanks for a while, so it's good to see them in game. Finally, while many of the tanks added do have some issues, I wouldn't really call any of them overpowered. I hear air players aren't quite so lucky this update, unfortunately. So this update was definitely pretty rushed, but it certainly isn't the worst update War Thunder has ever seen. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.